Man, you've really, your accent's gone, or your pronunciation's...
Oh, I've never had an accent.
No?
Yeah, so that's kind of the weird part of me
The
is so
WWE Universe was not ready for this. The drama, the chaos, the unexpected twists, everything that made professional wrestling a spectacle was cranked up to a level that no one anticipated. When Roman Reigns made his triumphant return to the ring, it wasn't just the fact that the tribal chief had come back from his suspension, it was who he brought with him and the utter devastation that followed. Roman's return marked a seismic shift in the WWE landscape, and this moment, this very night, would be etched into the annals of professional wrestling history. Roman Reigns didn't come alone. He had brought with him Brock Lesnar, the Beast Incarnate, and together they would rewrite the rules of the game. The WWE Universe, still reeling from the absence of their tribal chief, found themselves thrust into a whirlwind of emotions. The tension was palpable as the long-anticipated return of Roman was filled with uncertainty. The arena had already been buzzing with speculation about what might unfold once he stepped back into the spotlight, but no one could have predicted the magnitude of what was about to transpire. Roman Reigns' return. Vengeance in his eyes. The moment Roman Reigns' music hit, the entire arena exploded with energy. Fans in the stands erupted into a mixture of cheers and boos, their mixed reactions a testament to the power and influence Roman had cultivated throughout his career. But this time, it wasn't about the adoration or the jeers. It was about something deeper. Roman wasn't just walking back into the ring to reclaim his throne. He was walking back into the arena to settle scores. As the music echoed through the speakers, Roman's icy stare and collected demeanor made it clear that he wasn't here for a warm welcome. He had been suspended for a period of time, a forced absence that allowed a power vacuum to develop in the bloodline. But as he made his way to the ring, his eyes locked on one person in particular, Paul Heyman, the wise man, the master manipulator who had stood by Roman's side for years. For weeks leading up to this moment, there had been whispers, rumors, and speculation. Was Paul Heyman truly loyal to Roman Reigns, or had he been playing both sides all along? The seeds of doubt had been planted, and Roman's suspension only served to highlight the cracks in the bloodline's unity. Behind the scenes, Paul Heyman had made subtle moves, maneuvering, playing the game of power, and positioning himself for what some believed could be a future without Roman Reigns at the helm. Was Heyman truly the wise strategist everyone believed him to be? Or was he more concerned with his own survival in the unpredictable world of WWE? Roman's return was supposed to answer those questions, and it did, but in the most shocking way possible. The Beast unleashed, Brock Lesnar joins Roman Reigns. The anticipation in the air was thick as Roman Reigns climbed into the ring, his presence dominating the scene. The crowd was on edge, hanging on every second as Roman slowly turned his gaze toward Paul Heyman. The tension was unbearable. And then, without warning, the music of Brock Lesnar blared through the speakers. The arena erupted into pandemonium as Brock Lesnar, the Beast Incarnate, stormed down the ramp. The sight of Lesnar in the flesh was enough to send the crowd into a frenzy. He was, after all, one of the most feared and dominant forces in WWE history. The fact that he was here at Roman Reigns' side was a moment of sheer surprise for everyone watching. Lesnar, who had long been a rival to Roman, had been one of the only men in WWE capable of going toe-to-toe with the tribal chief. Their history was filled with brutal battles, but this time, things were different. This wasn't a rivalry. It was a partnership forged in pure chaos. Before Paul Heyman could even comprehend what was happening, Roman Reigns grabbed him by the collar, pulling him into the ring with an icy calmness that reflected his fury. Brock Lesnar wasted no time, charging toward Heyman with the ferocity of a freight train. The crowd was on the edge of their seats, unsure of what to expect next. What unfolded in those next moments would go down as one of the most shocking and brutal moments in WWE history. Destruction unleashed, the carnage of Roman and Lesnar. The crowd's reactions were a mix of awe and horror as Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar unleashed absolute destruction on Paul Heyman. The two titans, who had been bitter rivals for years, stood side by side, brutalizing the wise men with a level of aggression that no one could have anticipated. The brutality was shocking, and the violence in the ring was palpable. German suplexes, Superman punches, and a brutal conqueror's slam left Heyman motionless on the mat, his body sprawled and broken, the very air in the arena heavy with disbelief. The message from Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar was as clear as it was ruthless. Betray the tribal chief, and you will pay the price. This wasn't just a random attack. It was a statement, a declaration that no one, not even the man who had been the mastermind behind Roman's rise to dominance, was safe from Roman's wrath. As Roman stood tall over the fallen body of Paul Heyman, his eyes burned with a renewed sense of power and authority. The tribal chief was no longer just a title. It was a command, and anyone who dared to challenge it would suffer. With Brock Lesnar at his side, Roman Reigns had formed an unstoppable alliance, and the WWE Universe knew it was about to witness a new era in professional wrestling. Why team up with Brock Lesnar? The power play. But the real question on everyone's mind was, why would Roman Reigns team up with his greatest rival? Brock Lesnar had been Roman's adversary in some of the most brutal matches in WWE history. From WrestleMania to SummerSlam, they had fought tooth and nail to prove who was the top dog in WWE, but now they were working together. What changed? What led to this alliance of sheer chaos? The answer was simple: absolute power. Roman Reigns knew that to send a message that would reverberate throughout WWE, he needed the most feared and destructive man in the business at his side. Brock Lesnar had always been a force of nature, a man capable of bringing down the most formidable opponents in WWE history. And now, with Lesnar's power and Reigns' authority, they were the most dangerous duo the WWE Universe had ever seen. Lesnar, for his part, had always been someone who thrived on chaos. He had no loyalty except to himself, and the allure of bringing destruction to anyone who stood in his way was something he could never resist. With Roman Reigns as his partner, the two of them became a twin force of destruction. A tag team that was not just about physical dominance, but also about psychological warfare. Together, they embodied a new era of power and brutality, and they were ready to take control of WWE in ways that no one had ever seen before. With Roman Reigns' unchallenged authority and Brock Lesnar's raw, untamable aggression, this was a partnership that would send shockwaves through the entire WWE roster. The fallout. What happens to the Bloodline? But what did this mean for the Bloodline? For months, the faction had been at the core of WWE's most dominant force, with Roman Reigns at the helm and Paul Heyman as his trusted advisor. But now, with Heyman out of the picture and Roman aligning with Brock Lesnar, the very foundation of the Bloodline seemed to be crumbling. Roman Reigns, once the unchallenged leader of the Bloodline, was now rewriting the rules. The family unit that had brought him to the top of WWE was no longer in his plans. With Paul Heyman out and his once loyal allies in disarray, Roman Reigns had no need for the Bloodline anymore. He had evolved from the head of the table to something far more dangerous, a ruler who would stop at nothing to maintain his grip on power. A revolution in the making. This wasn't just a return to the WWE for Roman Reigns, it was a revolution. Roman had shown the world that no one, not even Paul Heyman, the man who had built his empire, was safe from his wrath. With Brock Lesnar by his side, Roman had cemented his place at the top of the WWE mountain, and the entire roster should be terrified. The Beast and the Tribal Chief were a deadly combination, and no one was safe from their fury.